And welcome back to Review Nights. Today, a real pilot tries flight simulator 40th anniversary. When I'm not making YouTube videos, I'm actually a real airline pilot. I fly the 777, so I thought today I would download the Boeing 777-200 from the marketplace and try flight sim for the Xbox Series X. It's actually a very pretty model. Obviously, it looks like the 777-200. There's lots of different versions that they offer: 200, 200ER, 200LR. The different engines. The 200ER, you could have it engined by Pratt & Whitney, GE's, or Rolls-Royce. I'm going to try the Rolls-Royce. As you can see right there, 200ER Rolls-Royce Trent 800. It's actually the 892. Which each one is about 93,000 pounds of thrust per side. So it should give us a nice... in real life, it's an awesome airplane. I love it. It's an absolute spaceship. Even though it's a 20... almost getting close to 30-year-old design. It's an absolutely wonderful airplane. I can't get enough of it. But let's see how the Microsoft Flight Simulator, or in particular Captain Sim or whoever made this model, let's see how they did. So we're going to set up a typical flight or free flight in Microsoft Flight Simulator. We've selected our Boeing 777-200ER with Rolls Royces. We're going to go from Charlotte Douglas International Airport. Incidentally, I picked the Air Singapore livery. I don't know, it's white. It says Starline, so I figured it's close enough. Charlotte Douglas International Airport, runway 36 right, over to Seattle Tacoma International Airport, runway 16 right, which I just landed at just a couple of days ago, as a matter of fact. Although I was coming from Dallas. Like I said, you can pick several different liveries. I downloaded the one livery pack. I just picked the one that was white. Now we go to the weight and balance, and this is all wrong. All of this is wrong. The center wing tank, main tanks, all these things, these are all wrong. The 777 has 3 fuel tanks. It has 2 wing tanks and 1 center fuel tank. Each wing tank has a capacity of 64,100 pounds. So we'll go ahead and switch to pounds, just to make it easier. Each wing tank for the 777-200ER is 64,100 pounds. The center tank is 174,900 pounds, a total of 303,100 pounds. All of this is clearly a 747. So like the main tank of 35,644, that's completely wrong. So let's go ahead and pull that out. The main tank, it looks like it's going to be, let's see how much the center tank can only hold 13,000. So that's not even good for the center tank for the triple, so I can't even use that. Already the CG is showing me out of limit, which that's going to be unfortunately the best you can do. Let's see if the main wing tanks look like they can hold as much, so we're just going to top these off. I'll just put 64,100 pounds in that one, and we'll go ahead and put 64,100 pounds in the next one. So that's the 2 wing tanks in a 777. That's what they carry. That's their max. There are no reserve tanks. There is no stab tankers. A lot of people call it trim fuel. There's none of that. And like I said, since the center wing tank doesn't hold as much as the 777's actual center tank by quite a bit, we're just going to zero that out. Then you come down to the payload, business class, upper deck. Yeah, clearly whoever made this just didn't care. The empty weight's a big problem there, 485,300 pounds. The max takeoff weight for the 777, the 200ER is, depending on the STC, is between 650,000 pounds, 656,000 pounds. So your empty weights are usually around 300,000 pounds, not, depending on how many people you have. So we're just going to put in pilot, co-pilot. Nothing's you can see that we'll get the total max takeoff weight is a little bit more 777 like. But all of this is wrong, unfortunately. So of course the CG says it's out of limit, all that good stuff. So we can add some people and some things just to get the CG up. We can just manipulate it manually just to get it somewhat flyable. It's unfortunate because it's like I said, it's completely wrong. So business class, upper deck, first class. I mean, triple has, like most airliners, has a lot of different configurations it can come in as far as the cabin, but it does not have an upper deck, obviously. Well, it's obvious to me, but if you're not familiar with the 777, it's just a large twin jet, the largest family of twin jets in the world, actually. So we'll go ahead and make the weight and balance as good, as close as we can to a 777 weight, takeoff weight. The balance won't be right, but at least it'll be flyable. Okay, we go to, now we can put the tail number on, 777JS, flight number or call sign, flight number, we'll go ahead and just put 616. Append heavy to call sign, that's kind of neat. You make the tower and controllers respond heavy. Now that's anytime you are certified for over 150,000 pounds, or over 150,000 pounds, you add the heavy onto your call sign. This is just for wake turbulence avoidance and things like that, just to make so the controller can let the other planes know that there's a wake turbulence issue that they're following. That's all that is. We got our Charlotte Douglas to SeaTac. Okay, and we're ready to fly. One thing I gotta say about flight sims, we use what they call flight training devices. Shorthand is the sim for training, but they're full motion sims with control loading and things like that. So it's really hard for these type of simulators with joysticks to get it right. But they are still fun, and they look really nice. So there we are, holding short of the runway, 36 right. It's a pretty model. It looks very nice. It's got all the static ports, the negative pressure relief valves, positive pressure relief valves. And we're ready to fly. So we're in the cockpit now. And it looks pretty cool, actually. It looks pretty close. There's your cup of coffee. There's an EFB. Start over here. That's your oxygen mask for emergencies. There's a tiller for the nose wheel. There's one on each side. There's your electronic flight bag. So we don't use paper maps anymore. We use that. There's a little pencil holder that nobody actually uses. I really don't like the up and down. Right off the bat, Microsoft, if you're making a flight simulator, when you pull back, it should go up. When you push forward, it should go down. I don't care if you're in the cockpit. I don't care if it's a camera. If you're doing a flight sim, back is up, forward is down. That's just how it goes. I don't care what menu you're on. If you can't get that part right, that's strike 3, frankly. But let's look at the rest of the cockpit. Up here is your electrical panel, of course. All this should be on. Most of the 777 switches are either on or auto. The APU is off right now. We'll turn on the seatbelt sign. We're getting ready to take off. Your smoking sign should be on, not auto, but you can't touch it, I guess. All the lights look like they're on. They're on. So we'll go ahead and, those are approach lights. Those are the turn-off lights. We'll go ahead and turn those on. That's the taxi light. We'll turn that on. Strobes, all those are on. Airframe DI should be on auto, so we'll go ahead and go to auto. It's airframe de-ice, and then you have your engine anti-ice. All that should be on automatic. Unless you're in icing conditions, then you turn on the engine anti-ice right after startup. But we're clear blue, so we'll go ahead and here's your fuel pumps. No fuel in the center tank, so we'll go ahead and turn those off, but we'll keep the wing pumps on. Here's your hydraulics. Doesn't look like you can touch this. Windshield de-ice should all be on all the time. Oh, okay. All four go at the same time. That's cool. Those should be on. Those your demand pumps, but I guess those aren't accessible on the sim. Okay. Oh well. It's cool that they're there, but yeah, you should be able to turn all those on. So your parking brake is engaged. It says to release the parking brake. We'll get to that in a second. Let's see. Right here is your MCP. Your range. There's, as you can see on the actual sim, if you look at the numbers, there is a certain number of ranges for the dial, and that's for your MFD range, for your map mode, and your traffic and TCAS and weather radar. It doesn't go out to 640 miles, but whatever. We're on map mode. That's kind of nice. You can interact with that a little bit. You should manipulate your MFD. Trying to adjust your minimums, but it doesn't look like it's adjusting anything on the PFD. And your barrel units, that's for your altimeter, of course. You got to set that. It's 2992 right now. Flight directors are both on. We're going to be taking off in the 777, so LNAV, VNAV will both come on. This is mainly because, and our speed bug here, we're gonna set that at V2. That's normally what we set that at. Not 200 knots. You're not gonna have that at 200 knots. So we go ahead and set that to V2. For the weight we have, I don't know, 160 knots. I didn't do the actual computations, but we'll just call it 160 knots for V2. That's fairly good for fairly heavy. Heading is right off the runway, and of course, altitude 10,000. Well, we'll just do unrestricted climb. We'll go right up to 34 for our cross-country flight. You should be able to set it to either 1,000 or adjust. I guess it's stuck in one spot. Flap should be at 5 for takeoff. Flaps should be 5 for takeoff. I guess I can't move the flaps for takeoff. Okay, that's not right. You don't take off at flap 0 on a 777. You take off at flaps 5. The flap settings for the triple, by the way, are not in a percentage. They're 1, 5, 15, 20, 25, and 30. You take off at flaps 5, which is slats and flaps. Yeah, your VHF radios and everything all look neat. Your trim. That's your rudder trim, actually. Your fuel control switches. And your throttles. Of course, your speed brake should be stowed. All right. Let's go ahead and we'll release our brakes and get going. Now it says to apply full throttle, which you don't do in the 777 either. And keep it straight down the runway. Okay, so those are the rudders. That's the... You move the throttles with the cursor itself. No, looks like you can only manipulate one throttle, so I see. So you just use one button for both throttles. Really what you would do in the 777 is, again, it's really a CDU prepped airplane. You really need to have the CDU filled out before you fly. 777, almost everything in the auto and in the AFCS depends on the CDU, including your thrust setting. You put in all your weight and balance information into the CDU. You power it up a little bit. Once it stabilizes, then you hit the toga buttons, and the auto throttles will bring the throttle up to what it needs to be. I'm looking at the engine page on the MFD there in the center, and it's showing the absolute wrong engine indications. rotate, climbs up. We'll just go ahead and pitch for the command bars. I'm going to fly without the autopilot for a little bit. Gear up. And here we go. The engine indicator, some of the other little things that obviously don't, I'm just going to go ahead and manually fly it a little bit. I'm just keeping altitude with the, I'm not really familiar with the controls in the flight in this Xbox, so otherwise I would be trimming up a little bit. It seems like you have to do a constant pitch back just to hold it at a constant pitch angle, which you should be able to pitch it back to a certain degrees, nose up, and then just trim it for that, but whatever. It's only my thumb. The little things are kind of bugging me. The engine gauges, those are wrong. You can see it's actually, you can see on that center MFD, it's those are engine indications for 4 engines, which of course we do not have. After completing initial climb out phase, we'll go ahead and climb out. That's good. So we're just gonna, we climbed. We're looking at the nav display, which is that the primary flight display is the one on the left. The one on the right is nav display. We'll go ahead and engage the autopilot and continue climb as I look at everything else. But we forgot to put our auto brakes at RTO for takeoff. That's something you normally do. Oh well, I forgot. But the thing about the CDU for this airplane is you absolutely need it. But those engine gauges there bother me. Like I said, the auto brake wasn't set. I forgot all that stuff. I forgot the auto brake, that is, anyway. But we'll go ahead and put the range out to 160. We'll activate stations. There we go. Got our radials for our distances. Nice. It's got all the buttons and switches here. They just don't all work. Over here, the synoptic pages, the synoptic switches, these are actually kind of important. It's got the fuel synoptic, which works, but as you can see, if you look down on the lower center MFD, it shows fuel running for the 777, or not for the 777, for the 747, because it's got 4 engines. But the other ones, the synoptics are basically diagrams of the different systems. You push those buttons, whether it be hydraulics or air or gear or whatever, and that will appear on that pretty much whichever MFD you want. Either your MFDs for the pilots or the center, upper or the lower center. So the secondary engine display works. Right now, this lower center MFD is blank. Let's go ahead and put it secondary engine display. All the other ones are inoperative, and the fuel one works. So can't look at any of the other synoptics, which is fine. I don't really need to. Okay, so I turn on the fuel one, and there you see fuel running to all 4 engines. So our 2 engines and then the 2 engines that we have in the trunk, I guess. No, just kidding. Obviously, this is a 747. You can see right there, those indicators are wrong. That's a shame. Gotta do a little extra work next time they do a 777. We've gone through 18,000. We can set barometric pressure. Set barometric pressure to standard is what we normally do, passing transition altitude on the way up, transition level on the way down. Unfortunately, it's not working. I hit A, and it says not available. It should say standard. It should say STD right there on the primary flight display. It does not. Whatever. Just a minor gripe. We've already selected our altitude, but you can see we're actually we've actually passed 34,000. And this is why the CDU is so important. The the CDU, actually, you put in your cruise altitude in the CDU, and once you're on VNAV, the CDU will capture will make sure that the um, MCP captures that appropriate altitude, but all that's disabled. On the outside, looks like a cool airplane. It definitely is. I definitely love the way the 777 looks. It was actually one of my favorite airplanes growing up as a kid, and it's kind of a dream come true being able to fly it in real life. Another thing about this airplane, again, you got to have a working CDU on a good sim for this airplane, because you put in things like cost index and I mean, just so much information goes into that CDU that tells the airplane, the computer of the airplane basically tells it the EECs what to do. It tells it how much fuel to schedule, what power settings you should be on the because you're using the auto throttles all the time or always on. So it's as they call it, a gentleman's airplane. So kind of a miss there. As far as just being able to take off and fly around the pattern and kind of do different things. So we'll go ahead and do a altitude intervention here just to get back to 34 since we're at 36. And we're descending. Okay, so back down to 34. I want to keep our altitudes as pilots. We don't want to be 2,400 feet off. Of course, we can't set standard on the altimeter, so God knows. But the synoptic pages would be really handy on a sim like this, because then you can see now. There you go. There's the secondary engine controls. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, this is not a 777. To be fair, I'm sure the guy isn't a 777 pilot who made this, and the MCPs are very similar, and the controls are very similar between the 777, the 787, and 74. So it's actually a very easy transition, relatively easy transition, when you go from one of those airplanes to the other. But God's sakes, man. Let's see. Does the nope? You can't use your digital flight bag, your electronic flight bag on the left. Yeah, see, it uses maps. We don't use paper maps unless for some reason the EFBs don't work. But I guess the EFB doesn't work in this sim either, so we're kind of stuck. I'll get ready for landing. We'll go ahead and set our auto brakes to 2. And we'll go ahead and fast forward to Seattle, even though we're going Mach 0.82, which actually cruise at Mach 0.84, 85 in this airplane. So we've fast forwarded to Seattle, and Flight Sim's got this weird bracketed thing for us to follow. Again, not being able to use the CDU means we can't put our flaps are already in place. Our speed brakes should be armed. They are. Yep. They're down, and now they're armed. Okay, so speed brakes are armed. Flaps are at a percentage, which is wrong, but that's all right. Again, you got to have the CDU for this, because that's how you program in the approaches and the arrivals and the approaches, the departures, everything into the CDU. So not having that really kind of takes away from the experience of flying this airplane. But we'll go ahead and just fly it manually, see how she does. The power settings and the speeds are all wrong, unfortunately, as well, because it's set up for a 7.4. I assume what this wants me to do is to follow the brackets in. It looks like a big base to final is what it is, so we'll go ahead and just follow it. Yeah, it looks, there's base to final 16 right. Okie doke. So for some reason last time I did, I just flew into 16 right into Seattle. It was at night, but I believe it was 16 right. Just flew in there. Very nice airport. So looking around, we're going to start bringing the speed back, and we shouldn't be doing 200 knots right now. I'll go ahead and bring it back. 180 seems a little bit. Let's do 170. Flaps 30 speed is 170, so we'll do 170. And again, it's going to be wrong because the mechanics for the sim for this model for flight sim is wrong, obviously. So it'll probably tell me I'm slow, and it'll probably fly like I'm slow, but unfortunately, I'm just gonna try see if it works. Some more traffic. Is he on the parallel or is he on my? He's on my runway. They give me brackets to follow. I guess I'm following him. Number 2, clear for the visual. I'm glad I slowed down. I'll just follow him all the way to the runway. All right, let's go ahead and configure. We'll go ahead and set gear to down. And we'll go, landing flap should be 30. There's no percentage. We'll just go 100%. That's fine. In reality, it would be gear down, flaps 30. Actually, it's gear down, flaps 20. And then your landing flaps, either 25 or 30. There it is, airspeed too low. Increase airspeed 182 knots. The thing is, you wouldn't want to do that because if flaps are at 30, you'd be exceeding the flap speed going up to 182, but whatever. We'll go ahead and just play along. Add a little bit more power, and we'll just fly final here. The scenery looks nice. The JipWiz callouts or eJipWiz callouts sound cool. Now this one, I think, has the callouts all the way down to in the hundreds. Our triple doesn't do that. It just does the 100, then 50, 40, 30, 10. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. And hand fly's nice. I mean, I don't know the quick trim switches, but let's see if I can land this thing on center line. 200, 50, 40, 30. Flare. And touchdown. Speed brake should have deployed. They were in auto. And that's all she wrote. Overall, it's okay simulator. It's okay if you don't care about all the 777 specific things. It looks like a 777. It doesn't act like a 777. And some of the key components in the cockpit are definitely missing. But that being said, it's all we've got right now in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I encourage whoever makes these to make a more detailed one. The best thing I can think of is weight and balance needs to all be redone because it's all completely wrong. That CDU needs to be incorporated into the simulator. That is absolutely imperative. And obviously, to be able to put in this, make sure the mechanics are correct for the speeds and everything else. Overall, 2 out of 5 stars